Sawadee Kop. March the 29th. Now the thing is shaking. I think it's the fan. I got the fan on. Pardon moi. There. Now it's quieter and the phone shouldn't be shaking anymore. More or less. Okay. March the 29th. A mind ill with negative attitudes is more dangerous than a sick body. Okay. For its sickness is always contagious. All right. Experts in human behavior have discovered that it is virtually impossible for an individual member of a group not to be affected by other members. Likewise, the group itself is only as strong as its weakest link. It is rarely possible for the entire group to raise itself to higher levels of achievement than that of which the weakest member is capable. It is only possible for individuals who break out of the group to exceed the potential of the group as a whole. Don't associate with those who are afflicted with the mental sickness of constant negative thinking. Associate with happy, positive, productive people. Your time is an asset to be managed more carefully than your money. Spend it with people who share your desire to succeed and your commitment to maintain a positive mental attitude. Okay, so I talked a lot last year about, Yellowbird Connect with Kyle and Pat, and how they saw a need because the current meetup group, Real Estate Investor Association, wasn't meeting people's needs because it was based on money because of the lady who ran it. And they started that company up, Yellowbird Connect, and people want this. People want to get around other people who are successful and have positive mental attitudes. People want to learn how to do what they do. There was a need there, and like I said, it was wildly successful. I think their first meeting, which I missed because I was still, unfortunately, a part of that other crappy one with the money. And no, I didn't want money. I had volunteered because I had gotten a lot out of that association for many years. So I missed the first one, but I think it was 100 people they pulled in. And it grew from there to the point where just before I left, which is to say just before COVID, I think they were pulling 250 to 300 people. That's 3 times to, double, say, because sometimes the other area would have a really good speaker, popular, somebody new, somebody fresh. Usually the way the old lady made money was just bring the same speakers in over and over again and rehash them because they made money before, and since she just cared about money, she'd bring them back. But she got a fresh speaker every now and then. Somebody on the board would recommend it. One of the volunteers who weren't making any money would bring in a good speaker. And, they'd have like 150 people in the main meeting. So that was their max. That was their top that they drew. And like I said, Yellowbird, I know, had 300 people. So it just shows you when your heart's in the right place and you really want to help people, they'll take the help. They're very willing and open and accepting. They want this. They want to be around people. And it's funny how he says it's contagious. For a negative attitude, it's also contagious for the positive mental attitude. Remember, I talked about there being a buzz in the room, like an energy. You could actually feel it. And that's why everybody abandoned the old lady and her money for Yellowbird, because it wasn't about money and there was an energy there. It was a contagious, positive mental attitude, and everybody loved it. And I hope they get back to doing them live soon. I don't know how long they're going to let the government keep telling them what they can and can't do. I've talked many times here about only 70 people dying. And if you know those people, you're like, you fucking heartless bastard, you cold-hearted prick. My grandfather died. I'm sorry your grandfather died. But when you look at statistics and does it make sense to financially cripple the country, we have 70 million citizens in this country, and 70 people died the entire time since COVID became the number one news item. So if you're a responsible politician, which I find very hard to find in America or in Thailand, you're saying economically it doesn't make sense to punish 70 million people because unfortunately 70 million people died of this disease. Once again, I researched motorcycles. I knew it was a lot, but now I have a number. 26,000. So we have 70 COVID deaths. 26,000 people die a year of motorcycle accidents here on the spot. So more conceivably die on the way to the hospital or after they get to the hospital from their injuries. They never recover. But 26,000 die on the spot of the accident every year, going back years and years and years, way before COVID was ever a twinkle in the government's eye as a way to control people. So there's no basis for the lockdown. We shouldn't be in the lockdown. It's not for our safety. It's about control. And I keep waiting for the government to end it. They don't seem to want to do that, so it's going to be up to the people to end it. And that's going to be interesting because I honestly don't know if they have the balls, the people, to do it. They're pissed. I see they're pissed on social media, but are they going to do more than squawk on social media? We'll see. So, yes, negative attitude, worse than a sick body. And whereas a sick body, you can heal and take drugs and rest and make it better, have a surgery, whatever. And with the sick mind, the only cure is to erase those thoughts from your mind, which you and only you can do, and replace them with positive. So, and that works. And don't ever underestimate the power of saying a kind word to somebody. One of my ex-agents, a lady who I've stayed in touch with over the years, met a guy. Her ex-boyfriend passed away in a really tragic accident. He was doing some work with heavy machinery, and it tipped over and he drowned. Horrible, terrible thing for anybody to go through. And obviously that affected her, very strongly in a bad way for a long time, as it would anybody, right? And, she's finally moved on because that's what life is. It's moving on after horrible things happen to you because, that unfortunately there is good and bad in life, and you got to take the bad along with the good. So the bad happened. It hurt her badly and probably still does, to be truthful. But she learned over time, okay, she has to heal and move on. She just has to, or die, and nobody wants to die, so she's moving forward. So she got involved with a guy, and, he didn't treat her right. He wasn't the guy. And I reached out to her just on Facebook and said, hey, listen, the problem isn't you. You got to understand that, you've done a lot of work on yourself in the last couple of years, and she has, because she was so devastated, when her ex-boyfriend passed away. She had to do a lot of work just to cope, right? Just to wake up in the morning and get dressed and make breakfast and stuff. So I said, you've done a lot of work. You should be proud of yourself. And clearly, this guy isn't qualified to be with you. So, that's that. And she's like, thank you, good to hear from you, because I'm over here now. We don't talk as much as we did when I was in the States, blah, blah, blah. She posted the other day, and she's like, thanks to a friend of mine who pointed out, the right way to think, I'm okay with what just happened with this guy. So, there's a lot of shit going on right now. Like I said, COVID, in my opinion, is being used as a tool. That's not right. There's definitely a regime change in America trying to happen, and you see the higher prices and the tax the fuck out of them, and that mentality that citizens are only good for money, just use them for their money, squeeze every dollar you can out of them. They're our workforce, which obviously is not a mentality anybody wants except the people in power, right? A lot of bad stuff going on, but if you stay positive and you surround yourself with positive people, then good things will come from it. I promise you that. So that's it for today. Once again, Napoleon's on target. The man knows what he's talking about, and He is telling you what you need to succeed if you only listen.